Hi, can I get a cheese pizza? Hi, could I get 2 McChicken sandwiches, please? I'll get the nacho cheese fries.
Food is one of those few things every single human has in common. And as the saying goes, too much of any good thing can also be a bad thing. So my question is, what if we go the complete opposite spectrum of human needs and not eat for a full 24 hours?
So I'm actually doing this fast for a lot of reasons. The first thing is I want to track where my motivation for food is coming from. And I could say for myself and probably for a lot of people out there who just eat because they're bored or they eat because they're stressed out. And even though that's like such a short-term, like instant gratification thing for your body and your mind, it also kind of ruins your focus, it ruins your body, and it's just overall not a really good situation. My challenge today and for the next 24 hours is to really see if I can go first off without eating, but then second off, really understand where my motivation really lies. So the last question that I think everyone has is, great, how do you fast safely?
I have to be honest, I only came to the library for dramatic effect. I mean, who really needs physical books when you have Google? Anyway.
In the most basic terms, water fasting is just another way of resisting food intake besides water. But there are many people who shouldn't fast, which I don't have any of these, so it won't be a problem. According to the article from Medical News Today, the best way to dive into a fast for a first timer is eating well before a fast, picking a time that allows for rest, maybe a day when you're not at work, avoiding demanding exercise, and lastly, starting small, maybe building up to a fast with smaller meals. And that's what I'm planning on doing. So I'm gonna start my fast in the middle of the day after I eat a very nutritious lunch. If you look at my timeline of my whole day, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, which means that from 5 until 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't usually eat. I do intermediate fasting. So what I do in that time period is drink a lot of coffee to kind of curb my appetite. And from 12 o'clock, I have my first meal, and then I kind of do work until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And from 6 to 9, I kind of just like hang out and chill with my family, and then I go to bed at 9 o'clock. So it kind of makes sense why I would start fasting or after 12 o'clock, because it mentally makes me feel like it's not a challenge. I also forgot to mention that the only thing I can consume now until tomorrow is only black coffee or water. So I'm doing a water fast. Let the games begin. So one of the biggest reasons why I'm doing this fast is because when it comes to hunger, I read this really interesting article about internal and external desires for why you want to eat. This is pretty straightforward, but internal desire is kind of like when you are actually hungry. There's an other side to this, which is the external hunger, which kind of dives into you eat when you're stressed or you eat when you're just bored. So I personally work a ton, so that's why I'm really interested in that. So hour by hour, I'm gonna be writing down how I'm feeling and kind of indicating if I'm actually externally hungry or internally hungry. The way I did this fast was I started at 1 p.m. The reason for that was because I wanted to eat a kind of a big lunch so I can mentally get prepared for not eating for a whole 24 hours. And I ate a bigger meal than I usually do. That led me to my first kind of question of how do you exercise or how do you be active while you're on a fast? One of the biggest questions I had when I started fasting was, if you're going to fast for 24 hours, how are you gonna exercise? And to be honest with you, since this is my first time doing it, what I'm trying to do is instead of doing a normal 60-minute workout, like I usually come down here, just throw this ball against the wall to kind of like get my blood flowing. I'm just gonna do that throughout the day, kind of walk, do some abs, but nothing too crazy because I'm too nervous that I'm going to get super hungry later down the road in this challenge. So after throwing the ball against the wall for a few times, it was 2 o'clock, and even though I, moved my body a little bit, I ended up taking a nap. And I usually take a nap throughout the day anyway for like 30 minutes, but this nap ended up being about like 2-3 hours. Don't judge. By the time I got out of bed from my nap, it was 5 p.m. and during this time I wasn't really hungry still. But at this time, I usually end up drinking like Indian chai, for instance. But since that has, you know, milk and sugar, which has calories, I felt like that would be kind of cheating, even though it was a liquid. So I ended up just making myself just like a tea bag with like no additional sugar or milk. As soon as 6 p.m. started, that's where things got really, really interesting. My family decided to order pizza, which wasn't the most ideal situation. After my parents ordered the pizza, I would walk around the house and my temptations for eating anything that I could see went through the roof. Anything that I saw on the table, anything I saw on the dining table, anything I saw in the fridge, I would just be so hungry and I would want to eat it.
Get the $7.99 large pizza deal.
And then this kind of like feeling and desire of eating anything that I could see kind of went from like 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. It's like, something really interesting happened after I hit like the 9 o'clock. You know what's interesting is that as soon as it hit 9 o'clock, my hunger just went away. Like I was like really hungry. Like from 7, I'm genuinely being serious. Like from 7 until like 8:30, like until now, I was like so hungry. And now it's like 9 and I'm like not hungry anymore. So I was like, this made it a lot easier for around 9:30 when I fell asleep.
What time should I set the alarm for?
5 a.m.
You got it. Your alarm's set for tomorrow at 5 a.m. Good night, partial.
For the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been waking up at like 5 a.m. So as soon as I took a shower and I meditated and did my morning routine, then 6 a.m. came around, which was like my favorite part of the whole fast, which was me making coffee. I love coffee, first off, but it also is a really good suppressor of appetite, which I was like, great. As soon as I woke up, I was 7 hours away from my fast. This would give me a little bit of runway of not eating. From 7 to 9 a.m., 9, 10 o'clock, my hunger just came back with a roaring vengeance. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I sat with my family and I watched them eat breakfast. That was number 1. Number 2, which is my body knows I want to eat something in the morning time and I wasn't eating, which was also an issue. But the ways I kind of combat that was kind of really helped me, which was I read a book. So I was like putting my mind away from my actual hunger. And I also started meditating a lot more. So I usually meditate for 10 minutes every single day. And during my fast, I actually meditated for like a whole hour out of the 24 hours. So I was like doing 15-minute increments. Most of my meditation came at the last few hours because I was just really hungry. And it did kind of help me because I was using my beads as a way to mindfully just like focus in on me instead of just like the external desire. For 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., like the last few hours, the last like stretch, I thought I was going crazy. So I'm about 18 hours into this fast. I'm 4 hours away and I'm really hungry. It doesn't help that I have a headache and I've been drinking a lot of water, and I think it's just from the lack of food. What I ended up doing was I took a nap for an hour. I ended up then just like getting very antsy and very angry. Oh, this is really funny. For the last hour of my fast, I ended up just taking a nap, and then I was also it was very uneventful because I was so dehydrated. I was not dehydrated, I was so hungry. I was so lacking energy in my body that I was like so irritated by everything. And as soon as 1 p.m. came around, I just ate a slice of pizza. "24-hour fast, done." I think there were 3 big takeaways that I want to talk about. First is like mapping your internal and external behaviors when it comes to food. I think it's really fascinating how our brains go into autopilot when we're trying to eat and when we're really hungry. And maybe when you're not hungry, why are you eating then? And the second point here is treating your body as a machine. I think that is really important when it comes to just like personal respect for yourself and your personal health. It's also really interesting to see like what are the foods you're putting inside your body, because your food intake directly correlate to the energy that you output into society, into life, into the work that you're doing. The third key takeaway was finding really effective ways to kind of curb your hunger. I'm not saying that you should just starve yourself. The whole point of this video was to explore the inner mind. What is happening, especially in America, where obesity is becoming a growing problem, is we end up just eating for the sake of just eating instead of actually understanding why are we eating. And all of this is just like exercise. It's about training your brain to do this, and spending 24 hours doing
doing a water and coffee fast is one effective way, I think, to really see where your energy's going and kind of just, you know, being aware of your body. Because when it comes to curiosity, when it comes to any of this stuff of genuinely being excited about life and the world, it all starts with your body. And if you're not doing anything to kind of protect your body and protecting the things that kind of go inside your body and your brain, it's really hard to live a really good and fulfilling life. And that's the reason why I did this.